What is up, everybody? This is Ride for Life 3 here. I've recently been getting some requests from people asking me about what my settings are set to and what I feel is most comfortable. So I figure I'd give you guys a quick tutorial as to what I personally run, as well as some suggestions on what things that you can change as well that may help improve your gameplay. So we'll kick it off right here now. Alright, so we're going to go through everything so everybody can have a better idea as to what exactly I run with, but we'll start with controls. So obviously I turn vibration off. Sensitivity is personal preference. I usually run between 80 and 100 depending on what I'm playing, how I'm playing, what feels most comfortable. I always run zoom sensitivity at 100%. If I drop it any lower than 80, I may increase the sensitivity, the zoom sensitivity, to compensate, to try and keep it at that same speed level, but I really don't like to drop below 80. Again, though, it's all personal preference. These are just standard soldier sprint. I press, double tap forward to sprint, off, horse sprint. Alright, now let's get into controller schemes. That really is all personal preference. If you Like, I run with a Razer Raiju controller, so my button layout is a little bit different, but if you are running with just a basic DualShock controller, I suggest using the alternate. You definitely find it much easier to crouch with your R3 than it is to crouch with your circle button. So by switching those two, you'll have more reaction time when you're approaching a position and you need to slide. It works out much better as far as that layout is concerned. Now when we get into advanced settings, this gets a little bit more difficult. First thing I suggest is your stick aiming acceleration. The stick aim acceleration, the best way I can put it is, it's like having a lag when you turn. So if you have, which game standard settings come set at 100%, when you have this at 100%, it gives you a slight lag when you start. So even if your sensitivity is at 100%, it's going to start off slower and then speed up as you are holding the stick down longer. Whereas when you turn that off, it takes that away. It gives you more of a Battlefield 4 feel. If you played a lot of Battlefield 4, you'll kind of get that feel from it as far as just the reaction time in it. You can see I didn't change my sensitivity at all, but I have a lot more movement because that lag is no longer there. So that's a big thing that I always suggest to everybody. It's the first thing I tell people to turn off. Alright, so the dead zones. Left stick, it varies. You can run it at the standard settings. I run it at center dead zone at 0. Sometimes I turn the axial dead zone down to 0 as well, but I've left it at 15 because it feels more comfortable for me. The right stick I just run standard. Now your controller input threshold, your L2, R2, this will give you a little bit more of a trigger, a hair trigger feel. It'll react with less pressure. So you want to turn both of those all the way down. Your zooms, that's all personal preference again. Vehicle sense, that's all personal preference. I don't really play in vehicles, so it doesn't play a factor for me. Decouple aiming, turn off. Aiming from turning on. Uniform soldier aiming on. Coefficiency 200%. So now gameplay. This is another big thing I tell a lot of people, and I learned it later in the game, but this comes into a huge play when you're playing in smaller maps because it gives you a better surrounding of your area, and your mini-map is a big deal when you're playing. You want to be able to locate enemies that have been spotted, so on and so forth. But before we get that, I turn awards off. I don't like to see them coming up. Critical messages I get shown. Squad list size 100%. So yeah, alright, so now crosshair colors. Again, this is personal preference. I like mine at a more brighter color, so I have it at 100, at lime green. Retinal color is the dark red. So the hit indicators. Again, it's personal preference, but I try to use bold colors that are very noticeable even in your surroundings. You can switch them up. Sometimes I'll change them to just give me a fresh new feel for it and just make it more noticeable again, because it does get dull after a while constantly looking at this and seeing the same colors. You may start to miss certain things. Alright, so your mini-map. You want to have your mini-map size at between 130 and 150%. Your icon size is at 100. Compass bearing visibility at 0. Light zoom radius at 258. I like rotating it with view. Some people don't. It's personal preference. On foot zoom radius 160. Texture opacity at 50. Your icon size at 100. Texture opacity at 50. Now your world icons, I have at the size at 60, opacity at 50, 50, gadget icon opacity 50. Again, these are all, personal preference. Now your advanced settings, camera shake scale. Some people like having it on. I do not. It affects my performance, so I always turn that to the minimum. Soldier auto leaning, yes. Soldier auto peek over, yes. Parachute auto deploy, no. Aim assist auto rotation, I always have it off, even standard, playing in pubs or whatever I'm doing. From the time you get the game, or the time I got the game, in any game, I always just turn it off automatically. Aim assist slowdown's a little different. You can play with it off. I play with it off to warm up. I play with it off to just get fresh, warm up a little bit, get used to nothing helping you. And then for all the league matches and scrims and so on and so forth, I'll turn it back on because it is allowed in all of the leagues. So you can play with it on. I prefer it on. But taking it off definitely gives you a better feel for everything going around. You'll get better with your accuracy, better with your aim. So it definitely helps you. But again, that's your choice. Network performance off, off. Alright, so now audio settings. Again, this is personal based on what you're using. I'm running the Astro A40s, so I run it under the Logitech. I also run surround. Yeah, alright, now video settings. Brightness, you shouldn't have it any higher than 55% because then it starts to get saturated. You don't want that. Field of view is a very touchy subject. I speak with a lot of people who play, mid 70s. I have others who play mid 80s, some who play in the 90s. I used to play at 90, then I went up to 105, and then I came down to 100. 100 is kind of where I've been comfortable with. But again, the higher you go, the less you're going to notice directly down scope as far as recoil because you're further away. So it's expanding your point of view. Now it will affect a lot of players in a negative way because the further back you go, the faster it looks like you're reacting. Even though your speed hasn't changed, it reacts a little bit differently. So some people get that tunnel vision feel. I still do it sometimes. You'll see me, try and make a quick move, and I'll end up running into the corner of a door or getting stuck in between a door jamb or whatever it is because, it's like a tunnel vision. I push to one side by accident because of the way the view is, but it's where I'm most comfortable. Again, I would suggest people not go over 90. Warm up at between 80 and 90, get a feel for it, and then move up gradually as you go along. Because if you try to jump from 74, 75, and you try and go right up to 100, it's going to take a little while to get accustomed to it and used to how it plays. The other thing, weapon DOF off. That plays another factor. I feel like the blur actually it throws you off. Like when you aim down sights, every once in a while it'll glitch and you'll actually see it flash on. And that could throw you off, especially in a split-second decision that you need to make in a point, where it's a key point that you need to be able to stay alive. And then you go and aim, and all of a sudden it's clear and then it goes blurred. That could take that millisecond that it takes, one extra shot to land on you that could end up killing you. So I keep that off. Yeah, and that's really it. Tritanopia, as far as colorblind colors, I think they stand out best. Grain effect off, lens distortion on. Sniper DOF, I don't snipe, so it don't matter to me. But yeah, so that is the settings I do run. And please make sure to take a moment and like and share this video if there was anything in it that was helpful and helps improving your gameplay. And make sure to tell all your friends to tune in weekly as we do monthly giveaways as well as milestone prizes, and a bunch of other content that is being brought to you live all the time, including league matches and just T5s and pubs and all kinds of different things. We have a Metal Madness stream, we have a Comedy Bang Bang stream, and we're going to have a bunch of other content coming. Thanks again, and have a wonderful night.